So deal sourcing can make you a lot of money if you do it properly. And in 2026, with the cost rising and people looking for low capital ways to start a business, it makes sense as to why you may be drawn towards it. But let's be honest, it's not easy, it's not passive, and no course can shortcut the work, unfortunately. However, in today's video, I will provide you all with a no-nonsense breakdown of deal sourcing within the UK. And more specifically, I'm going to cover 3 things: what deal sourcing actually is, how to set yourself up properly and legally, and how you realistically can source your first deal. Plus, I've also put together a proper deal sourcing guide, which includes a solicitor drafted agreement and an example deal pack, which I'll link in the comments below. Let's get into it. So deal sourcing is where you act as the middle person between a seller and an investor. Your role is to find the properties that suit an investor's strategy, secure that deal, and then package it correctly. And you'll do this by helping the deal progress smoothly towards completion. Now, most new deal sourcers also work on behalf of investors rather than sellers, simply because investors are actively looking for opportunities, and by providing that service properly, you're able to charge a sourcing fee. Now, in the UK, that fee is typically between £2,000 to £3,000 for straightforward deals. Although this is pretty generic and what most courses will tell you to charge. But seriously, the numbers, they're just plucked from thin air, and you could be leaving a lot of money on the table, depending of course on the deal. And what I mean by this is when you're talking about more complex deals, essentially where you can add more value. In these cases, you can justify higher fees, and you should. For example, if you're providing additional support like project management, turnkey delivery, or maybe you're introducing brokers, letting agents, solicitors, then your fees can scale up accordingly. Similarly, if you're finding something that is genuinely below market value, giving an investor great equity from the start with more potential upside in the future, again, you can likely charge more money. But the fee must always make sense relative to the value created, not just plucked from air, my friends. Deal sourcing is highly regulated, and skipping compliance is one of the fastest ways to get fined, banned, and shut down. And yes, HMRC and redress schemes, they do their checks. A lot of gurus tell people to find a deal first and then sort compliance out later. I've even paid for courses in the past where they've specifically said this and told people in the room to use their first fee to cover some of that compliance. This, my friends, is terrible advice. Please do not do this. Here is what you actually need to do. One of the first things you need to do is get professional indemnity insurance, and this usually costs around £300 per year and typically covers around £500,000. And this protects you if something goes wrong with the deal or advice. You must also be registered with the redress scheme, and this means either the property redress scheme or the property ombudsman. Again, choose which one you prefer. And this normally costs between £200 or £300 per year and gives your clients a formal complaints route. You must also be registered for anti-money laundering with the HMRC, and this costs roughly £500 and is mandatory. You also need to register with the ICO. If you're storing client names, emails, numbers, or documents, GDPR applies. If you cannot explain how you store, protect, or delete data, you're simply not compliant. Now, once compliance is handled, you then need to set up the business properly. A limited company with the correct SIC code, clear terms of business, sourcing agreements, client onboarding processes, AML checks, and risk assessments. Now, this is the part most people struggle with. Deal sourcing is hard at the beginning, especially if you're a newbie with little to no knowledge of property investing or trading. It requires consistency and resilience and skill, and anyone telling you otherwise is simply selling you a lie. You are dealing with multiple parties, all with different motivations. And if you don't already have property experience, then there's a steep learning curve you must go through. But don't panic, because some of the core skills you need, they're relatively simple if you're willing to work at it. You need strong communication skills, as you'll be speaking with investors, agents, vendors, brokers, builders, solicitors. You also need good negotiation skills, price, terms, timelines, refurb expectations. These are all constantly in play. Alongside this, you're gonna need problem solving ability. Every deal, there's gonna be an issue, no exceptions. Then you need deal analysis skills. You must confidently calculate refurb costs, yields, ROI, end values, running costs, market rent, investor profit, the list goes on. And I see so many shoddy deals that people sell that literally makes my head spin. Most importantly, alongside all of that, you're going to need resilience. You're sadly going to hear no far more than you hear yes. Get used to it. Now, there are 2 main ways you can operate. Either you work on behalf of an investor, where you find deals that essentially fit their strategy, their numbers, and their risk profile, meaning in this case, you must understand their discount requirements, refurb budgets, and long-term plans. Or 2, you work on behalf of the vendor. And this normally works well when, let's say, a landlord wants a quick exit. A property has hidden potential, or you already know investors who specialize in that asset type. Both models work. What matters, however, is clarity and understanding what you feel more comfortable with. Now, when it comes to finding deals, you don't find deals just by scrolling Rightmove at home. You find them by being out there repeatedly. You'll view dozens of properties that never became deals, And it's not always because it's something you missed, because a lot of stock simply doesn't work once you run the numbers properly, or if the wrong strategy and approach wasn't considered in the first instance. So you'll put offers in that make sense on paper and still find yourself getting rejected. Now, deal sourcing is also a relationships game as well. The numbers come from volume, viewings, offers, follow-ups, rejections, but the relationships come from trust. Agents learning you don't waste their time. Investors knowing your figures are real and you deliver on what you say you're going to do. The people who succeed aren't smarter. They're just still there when others give up. Now let's make this practical. You speak with an agent who has a property coming up on the market that the vendor will sell for £80,000. However, the true market value is £100,000, i.e. what similar condition properties are selling for right now. So there's instantly £20,000 of value there. Instant equity, as we say in the property game. Now a new deal sourcer might take £2,000 to £3,000 from this, using those headline figures. But let's say you think like an experienced investor, and you know there's many ways to skin a cat. You recognize that properties on that road done up nicely, i.e. the best on that road, actually achieve £150,000 based on recent comparables. And with around £20,000 refurb, you could achieve that on this particular property. Instantly, you've increased the potential profits and value. £80,000 purchase price, £20,000 refurb, £150,000 end valuation. Now your fee is worth more than £2,000 to £3,000. Plus, if you manage the renovation from start to finish, you can achieve even higher sourcing fees, because the investor still wins and makes their desired ROI even with your increased sourcing fee. Now please, my friends, do not just use this as an excuse to be greedy and start charging them £30,000 for the pleasure, because firstly, that's a ridiculous fee for that example, but also human psychology is a strange thing. Some people won't like you earning more than them on that particular deal. Me personally, I don't care. As long as the deal sourcer gets me the ROI I'm after, I don't care what they make. But not everyone thinks like me, and that's okay. You just have to be willing to adapt. Now, deal sourcing can be a great business, but only when done properly, legally, and with the right expectations. It's not quick money, it's not passive, and it's certainly not easy to begin with. But if you understand the process, respect compliance, build relationships, and become someone investors trust, it actually works. Friends, as always, thanks for sticking around when you could literally be doing anything, but you chose to spend a few moments with me. Thanks for watching.